If you work in university maintenance, Granger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Granger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRANGER, visit Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Dinner time. It's more than just a meal. It's when work comes to a halt, where macaroni masterpieces are made and little moments turn into lasting memories. With the Blue Cash Preferred Card, you can get 6% cash back at U.S. supermarkets. So you can bring home the flavors that bring everyone together. We did say everyone. Make the special moments even more rewarding. Learn more at americanexpress.com/explore-BCP. Terms and cashback cap apply with Blue Cash Preferred.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I'm your boy 12 Kyle. Check this out. We got a special one for you today. You see the title. I had the idea of wanting to talk to not only someone that I respect as a fellow podcaster and a homeboy, but somebody who is a huge fan of hip hop as well. Huge sports fan as well. And what I wanted to do was, because everybody kind of, if you listen to this podcast, if you follow me, you kind of know my thoughts on two MCs, Tupac and Biggie. And this particular episode, we're going to talk about Biggie, but more specifically, what we're going to talk about is the perspective from a fan of what they think would have happened if Biggie were still alive. Now, the cool part about this is that, at least for me, I get to sit back and just listen to the perspective of someone who really, really enjoyed Biggie and his music. Ladies and gentlemen, my man, fellow podcaster, husband, father, businessman, Manny Brown is in the building. Manny, what up, baby?
What's going on, my bro? What's going on, man? It's an honor. I say that a lot, but it's legit an honor, man. You are one of my my mentors in the podcast game, so it's always an honor to be on the same microphone with you, man.
Man, always, man. Appreciate it, man. This dude, been knowing him for a while, knows his stuff. Again, a huge hip hop head, a huge, and when I mean huge, sports fan. Born and raised in Brooklyn, right? Is that correct?
Raised in Brooklyn, man.
Born and raised in Brooklyn.
Some years in life in Florida as well, but my basically from birth to age 17, it's been New York City, man. It's been Brooklyn.
Yeah. The only bad thing I can say about him is he's a Mets fan.
Hey, we won't see. We exchange the pleasantries. We're being nice to each other.
I'm a Yankees fan. Come on, man.
No need. You know what? We could have just kept that down low. You know what I mean? We didn't have to expose.
Hey, but y'all are doing well this year, man. I'm happy.
Y'all are doing as well.
Maybe.
I hate to see it. The 1 year the Mets are actually doing really, really great. Of course, the Yankees are better right now. Anyway,
hey man, who knows? Maybe, just maybe, November we might see each other.
Oh man.
Listen, that would be a blessing.
Listen, hey, we might have to just do a special 12 Kyle.
I know, right?
Subway series edition. Like this
right.
That's the levels to this.
No doubt. Well, like I said, Brooklyn native, man. So I got you on here to talk about Biggie. Yeah. So what I did was I specifically said I wanted to get just, and we can do them one by one, 10 things from you that you thought would have happened had Biggie still lived. Obviously, we know Biggie was tragically taken away from us March 9th, 1997, senselessly, and we still don't know who murdered Biggie.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I know it's crazy, and I've done a few podcasts on my perspective of Biggie, and obviously we reviewed his albums, and you and I were just talking about his albums right before, and we really, even as being such big fans as we are, we still feel kind of robbed because we still didn't get to get Biggie in his prime. I mean, if Biggie had lived, he'd be 50 years old now. So let's start there, man. Before we even get to that, let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
What was your introduction to Biggie? Do you remember like your first time hearing him, first song? your first memory of Biggie.
Yeah, my first memory of Biggie, just my introduction to Biggie as a whole. So I'm 35 now. So when Ready to Die came out, it was obviously 1994. I was 8 years old, and I was just starting to get into hip hop. Like, you still you're 8 years old, so you kind of like listen to the songs, but you don't really like start understanding the context of the song. You don't know what One More Chance necessarily means or whatever. So a warning or anything like that. You just like the songs. You just like. So I'm starting to get into hip hop, and my older brother, huge hip hop head, person that got me into hip hop, or one of the people that got me into hip hop. And as soon as Ready to Die comes out, it's just like when I tell people, like, when Ready to Die comes out, and just like along with Illmatic and Enter the 36 Chambers, 3 albums that literally ushered in the East Coast style of hip hop. But when Ready to Die comes out, I mean, that's just the only thing you heard. Like, it was just, that's it. Like, whatever album you was listening to before, it was done. Like, there was nothing else to really compete with it. So when Ready to Die comes out, and I'm young, so I didn't really understand the gravity or the magnitude of that. So to answer your question, when I first got introduced to Biggie was right around 1990. End of 95, 96. At this point, I'm going into being, I think I had just turned 9. I'm in 4th grade, I believe, third or 4th grade. I can't remember, but
about right.
And I met one of my homies that was like he's the other person that put me onto hip hop. And he was a huge Biggie fan, and he's sitting here like he literally like chapter and verse can recite every single line, every single verse from Ready to Die. And so obviously me and him clicked up. And then he plays me Who Shot Ya, because I hadn't heard Who Shot Ya, and I don't believe back then. I think back then Who Shot Ya wasn't on the album version of Ready to Die. It was added later on as like a bonus track. It was. But back then it wasn't. And back then, back in the day, for the youngest, when we had tapes, Who Shot Ya was not on the album. Obviously, it was released later on. So I heard Who Shot Ya, and I was like, man, I was just floored. Like his flow, his delivery, his voice, like that's the thing that more than anything else caught me on the Biggie is just his voice. Like, I don't know what it is about voices in hip hop, but just the ability to. That's what I love about Jadakiss. It's just that voice. It's just it's iconic. So the voice, and I mean at the flow, everything, bars, everything, right? And then so I'm just hooked. I was already a fan to begin with, but I was hooked already. Like there was no going back after that. And then man, and then it was just, and then so then I was going back and listening to Party and Bullshit, listening to some of the mixtapes and everything like that. So I spent basically 96 catching up to everything I had missed, 93 and 94 or whatever. And then of course by the time the lead up to Life After Death, I'm just ecstatic. Like I can't even contain myself. Like I'm just like and again, for the kids out there, like this was back in the day. There was no like SoundCloud. It wasn't Spotify. It wasn't like so. Like you literally had to wait for these albums to drop, and then you had to go to the record store, either get the tape or get a CD or whatever, or get both. Sometimes in some instances. So man. So when Life After Death, or when Ready to Die came out, or Life After Death, came out or was about to come out, and it was just the lead up to that was just like it was like waiting for like a Marvel movie now to come out. Like you're just like you're literally watching different trailers and trying to like. So then of course Hypnotize comes out, and then that takes it to another level. Hypnotize shuts down the game to another level. And I remember when my brother and I first watched the Hypnotize video. It came on Rhapsody. It wasn't Rhapsody the Basement at the point. It was just Rhapsody. I think Joe Claire was hosting it still.
Yep.
And he picked me up from school. We came home. I don't even remember what the segment was, but they were airing Hypnotized for the first time on Rhapsody. And then we just watched it, and it was just like watching a fucking movie on a like you just it just floors you, like the production and it's like, yo, these motherfuckers really made a movie in a hip hop video. Like it's just everything, man. I mean, so that was my real introduction to Biggie, man. I kind of missed the Ready to Die phase. I missed that. Obviously, I went back and caught up with it, obviously, but I missed Ready to Die. So my real introduction was Who Shot Ya, and then everything that came in between, and then of course Junior Mafia, and then all the features that he was on throughout 95, 96 with all the bad, with Total and Little Kim. So yeah, it was kind of like a slow burn, I would describe it for me as a Biggie fan.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, what you described really is very typical of what fans went through in that time frame, and I'm glad you said that, because even the part about going to the record store, like that was an investment. We had to leave our house to go purchase music. You couldn't just whip out something and just start listening to it. My introduction, man, was crazy. I remember I was playing football at South Carolina State University, and same thing. One of my teammates, he had a cassette single, and I needed some. We were warming up and getting ready for this game. We were getting ready to play against Newberry College, and Newberry's not in our conference, but they're a white school. Newberry's probably about an hour away from where we went to school, and so it was a non-conference game, but it's a game against a team within our state. So we were getting up for it or whatever like that, and I needed some music, and I asked my boy Bruce. Shout out to Bruce. I said, yo, man, I see you got some tapes, because I had tapes, but like the tapes that I had, I'd already listened to them on the bus and everything. I needed something to get me hyped. And so he hands me this cassette single, and it's called Dolly My Baby by Supercat. Now, I don't know who Supercat is. I don't know what a Dolly My Baby is, but I put it in and I play it, and I'm listening. Supercat comes on his little reggae or whatever. I'm not really a huge fan of reggae, so I'm like, all right, what is this I'm listening to? And then this guy at the end of the song starts rapping, and he starts off with, "I love it when you call me Big Papa." And I'm like, I stopped. I literally, like, we're warming up for the game. Like, I literally stopped in my tracks, and I'm listening to him because I got my headphones on. We don't have our helmets on and stuff. And I listened to it, man. I was like, yo, this dude is nice. And I'm like wanting to hear more at the end of the verse, but I don't hear anymore. It's just that verse. So I was like, all right, let me rewind it. So I hit the rewind button. I played it again, and I played it again, and I played it again, and I played it again, to the point where when the game was over, we won the game. So we're on the bus going back. My boy Bruce is like, yo, you got my tape? I was like, oh man, I think it's in my bag. It was in my Walkman. And so like the next day he's like, yo, you got my tape? I was like, man, I think it's in the dorm. I'll bring it to practice. And I never gave him his tape. Man. Never gave him his tape. I was hooked. After that, man, I started trying to find, and we had limited means because you had to go out and actually do like research. Like you had to like put some work in. Again, for the youngest out here listening, like this is the, again 20 years before Spotify and Apple Music and hell, we didn't have internet back then. Like nothing. It was like the early days of internet. So like unless you had money, like. And you was paying to get internet in the home, like you wasn't. We didn't even have the internet. It wasn't. The internet was a pipe dream at that point. Exactly. It was something that was just starting to bubble. But being able to get music, like I said, you had to go to a record store, and then I started hearing more and more, and then obviously, Clue tapes, Ron G, Kid Capri. He started popping up on these tapes and stuff like that, and then I became a fan. So I just wanted to, before we get started, I wanted to kind of give people a breakdown as to how we got onto this guy. Yeah,
absolutely.
So let's and as I see your little ladies back there,
trying to usher them upstairs. Give me 1 second, real quick.
Go ahead, man. Hello. Good night, man. I go through the same thing. Everybody wants to talk when it's time to go to bed or it's time to record. For those of you who can't see, Manny's kids are in the background. He's got 2 daughters and a son, and they're in the background just kind of jumping around. It's bedtime, but they're trying to hang out with Dad. I promise I'm not gonna keep Dad long. He's trying to negotiate. Oh man, fatherhood, man.
Fatherhood, man. Jesus. I don't know what it is with kids, man. Like, I swear, ladies and gentlemen, I was down here in my den and I was chilling, quiet as could be. As soon as they hear me turn on this mic and start working, it's like they want everything. Right?
Always, man. Hey, mine are older than yours, and they'll come in here. I'm like, hey, I'm recording at 8. They'll like, oh, hey, Dad, did you see the game tonight? I'm like, hey, man, I just told you I'm recording. But yeah, man. So let's get it started, man. You got 10 things that you think would have happened had Big still been alive in 2022. So let's start with number 1, man. What you got?
Number 1, I think probably the most obvious is Bad Boy continues his reign on top, right? I think, Bad Boy at that time, and that's it. And again, coincide with Biggie. Like, Bad Boy was the biggest hip hop label at that time. I mean, it was like, it had, very few could imagine like a label surpassing like Def Jam as far as importance and relevance. And for like a 3-4 year period, Bad Boy was literally the epicenter of hip hop. It was literally like the only label to care about in hip hop, besides some artists here, artists there, or whatever. And Bad Boy would have continued his reign on top. I mean, obviously we're thinking Biggie Never Dies, March 9th Never Occurs, and Life After Death comes out, number 1 album in the world, multi-platinum, Hypnotized, More Money, More Problems, Sky's the Limit. Obviously there's going to be a tour. Maybe, obviously this was the days before deluxe editions, but who knows, maybe even at a deluxe edition. I mean, the sky's the limit to borrow from Biggie, right? Like it would have been, and then it was at the time where Bad Boy was just investing on a heavy roster. Like, I think that's the thing that Bad Boy kind of gets. I think people don't give credit to Puffy in this regard. Like, he had a roster of just spitters and great MCs. I mean, you just talk about, just the Locks alone, but then to have Black Rob, God rest his soul, R.I.P. Black Rob. We lost him way too early, but Black Rob, obviously the Locks. I mean, you got Biggie, you got Mace. I mean, like in any era, those names alone are spearheading a label, and they're in the background. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy to me that Bad Boy, the roster that Bad Boy had at that time, and it would have just kept going for a little while. It would have definitely kept going for a little while for sure. I don't know how long. I'll get to my list in a second. The second one on my list, but Bad Boy.
I can actually address what you said on the first one. I agree. I think they said that we're not gonna stop. If it's safe to say that I'm not gonna say that Big's death was the reason why Bad Boy fell off, if you will. But I mean, he's the biggest artist on their label. So obviously if you take him off, that label, especially the way in which it happened, it wasn't like it was a contract dispute and he went over here to Death Row or he went to So Def or something like that. But like you said, that roster, man, I mean, and everybody, collaborated on different albums and stuff like that. And I mean, even the ladies, you got Total, you got Faith. I mean, 112. Come on, man.
It's just crazy, man. It's just
I'm with you.
It's insane. And when people like and Biggie's death wasn't the reason Bad Boy fell off. I mean, we could do a whole episode just on Bad Boy alone and why they fell off. But I think that was definitely the first like domino to fall. For lack of a better term, but that was the first domino to fall, man. When you lose someone as impactful, as influential, as a superstar, that type of guy, and you really don't have anybody to really step in and replace him. I mean, it's just it was a domino, So of course you have Biggie, and then they kept it afloat for more than kept it afloat. They kept going for a while, but then of course Mace retires, and Shine ends up in jail, and
I forgot about Shine.
All these things that Shine. We didn't even get Shine his flower like Shine, but all these things that just kind of happened, but it really started. You could really kind of mark the point of demarcation, really, when Biggie died. Like it was only a matter of time.
I agree 1,000%. What you got for number 2?
Number 2, same and kind of piggybacking off the whole Bad Boy situation. I think he eventually leaves Bad Boy. I think he eventually. I know that's always been like, a hip hop myth, right? Like Biggie was about to leave Bad Boy. That's why he got shot. I'm not here to listen. This podcast is not about urban legends or
right.
Or boogeyman. Listen, we don't know, obviously, but we're just trying to project. I think eventually, he would have left Bad Boy. I think obviously he would have gotten too big for that label. I think it's natural. I mean, you look at every great hip hop. Eventually they migrate to greener pastures. I mean, Jay didn't stay with Rockefeller. They didn't even stay with Def Jam at some point. Eventually he migrated somewhere else. I mean, eventually it happens, right? It's just change. It's inevitable, right? I think, and I don't even think it would have been like a beef per se or something negative. I just think that Biggie would have left to maybe start his own stuff. You know what I mean? I think he would have, and I think you could, and I'm going to allude to this later on my list, but I think Biggie was definitely into like liaisoning different artists and finding new talent and being that guy, and he was already kind of taking a major presence in that regard already on Bad Boy. So it's easy to think that eventually he would have left to like start his own imprint, maybe under Bad Boy, maybe under like Arista Bad Boy, but I think eventually Biggie would have just kind of evolved away from Bad Boy.
That's a great point, because I mean, look no further than Junior Mafia.
Yeah,
Junior Mafia's success of that first album, and then subsequently, Lil' Kim branching off and C's branching off. Because those were the ones that was hungry out of that group. And Biggie, I definitely could have seen Biggie taking them and doing his own thing under his own label.
A lot of people don't notice he discovered Cameron. Like he was one of the first people to really like notice Cameron. So who knows? Maybe Biggie. Yeah, I think it was a rumor that like Biggie wanted to sign Cameron. So who knows? He probably
did.
You know what I mean?
Because Cameron came up with Mace. And with Mace being on Bad Boy, who knows? And the thing is that at this time, so we're talking about 96, 97, let's say Big, finishes obligations for his contract to Bad Boy. I could definitely see him, having his own label or imprint, either under that label or, on his own. So no, I agree with you 1,000% on that one.
Yeah, for sure. Number 3 for me, no shiny suit era. I don't think listen. Listen, crazier things have happened, but I just cannot imagine Christopher Wallace in a shiny suit for so many reasons. But I just don't think you see the shiny suit era. I think the shiny suit era was kind of Puffy, the worst of Puffy. I don't want to say the worst of Puffy because I'm not gonna lie, even I enjoyed the shiny suit era for what it was at that time. But I think that was kind of the worst excesses of Puffy. And, I don't think Biggie would have been down with that. I think Biggie was still one of those guys that had his one ear to the street, one ear into like pop culture. And I think he would have been like, no, hey, we're not doing the shiny suit, because remember, Biggie's still alive. So the More Money, More Problems video is probably different. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Right. But I don't think we get a shot. We might get a shiny suit video, but we don't get shiny suit era. Let's put it that way.
Right. No, I think you're onto something there, because I could definitely see that in a video, because the shiny suit era, all of that stuff really took off, and Puff made everything like things were this way, and then Puff made it bigger. And that I think that's what those videos kind of represented, and then subsequently that's what he represented on stage. And I hate to say it like this, Manny, but that was kind of, and you'll get where I'm coming from when I say this, it was kind of Puff riding the wave of Big's demise. Yeah. Not necessarily to be profitable, but even something as simple, well, I can't call it simple, but even something as simple / complex as the Police song that was Every Breath I Take. That he sampled from Sting and the Police, which, Sting is still getting paid off of. That right there, I'll Be Missing You was the name of the song, obviously with Faith and 112 singing on the hook. But I mean, like, that was a part of the wave of music that came after Big died. And it wasn't music from Big. So like, I guess the way I can put it into the equation for like now, imagine, when Nipsey Hussle unfortunately was murdered, and then like somebody from his label, or Black Sam or his brother started singing or started rapping, and he was able to kind of ride the wave of everybody mourning Nipsey Hussle, and everybody, and then now all of a sudden everybody's buying Marathon clothes and Crenshaw shirts and stuff like that. So it's kind of like that. If I could kind of bring it fast forward to today, but I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, it's like literally like if YG literally just started making money off of the image and likeness and the death, monetizing it. And I don't necessarily think Puffy did it, at least in the beginning. I think he was sincere. Like they were friends, they had a relationship, like there was a connection there. So I don't think, at least in the beginning, I don't think it was meant to be like to profit or monetize that death. I mean, you could just tell from "I'll Be Missing You," like there was a lot of pain, a lot of hurt there. Right. Probably 2-3 years later, when them checks was coming through, it was like, oh well, shit. You know what I mean? And of course,
even then, Manny, I don't think it was. I can't. Obviously, we can't speak for Puff's heart or his intentions, but I don't think it was malicious. Did he make money? Of course he did. I don't think it was done maliciously. I think we've seen a lot of stuff happen in the music industry that is done maliciously, to profit off of people's backs. But I don't think that was the case.
I agree with you. Listen, there's a lot of things you can bag on Puffy about, but I've always kind of felt like it was a little bit unfair. I don't think it was done maliciously.
No doubt. And to be honest, man, being older than you at that time, I remember people really, really dumping on Puff about that. Like, and it was just, and a lot of it wasn't fair. And then Puff really wasn't in a position where he could kind of come back and defend himself, because if you ignore it, then you just keep moving. But if you say something and people are like, oh, well, why are you getting defensive? Are you really trying to steal from Big? That type of thing.
Yeah, for real. So number 4 for me, and this one's the one I kind of struggle with the most, but I'm gonna go with it. It's a 2-parter for me.
Okay.
I think Junior Mafia doesn't fall out. And the other one, which is the one I really struggle with, is I don't think Little Kim loses her way. And I'll start with the second one first, because I know this one might be a tricky one in some respects. So I don't profess myself to know Little Kim. Obviously, I don't know her. I don't know where her mindset is. I don't know where her upbringing was. I don't know what psychological issues she may or may not have. I don't know. But all I know is that someone that goes through the efforts to change their own appearance and the way they look, something has to be. And I don't mean it in like a negative way. I mean, like, there's something that it's clearly something is affecting her, and something is bothering her, that she does not love herself. She does not, or at least doesn't think highly of herself enough to love herself more. Which is sad, because she was a really beautiful woman. Like there was a point where literally Little Kim was the apple to everybody. You know what I mean? Like everybody just desired Little Kim in some way or shape or form. So I mean, listen, just look at that hardcore cover and just tell me Little Kim needed to do anything to her appearance. Yes. I mean, whatever. But yeah, man, it's tough to even. I like many. It's tough to even look at Little Kim right now. I mean, it's like, why? Like, what is going on that? And you just wish that somebody was there to just be like, yo, you don't even got to do all this. And I'm not saying that this doesn't happen if Biggie's around or whatever, because who knows, right? Mental health, self-hate, self-love is a big thing that goes beyond a rapper being here and not being here.
Right.
But I'd like to believe that if Biggie was around, and everybody knows the relationship that they had and the love that they have both for each other, I'd like to think that if Biggie was around, maybe we don't see that. And so I'm going to go with that one. And then the Junior Mafia clique, man. I mean, I think Biggie not being there was a huge loss for that group, man. I mean, he was the guy that brought them all out of the mud. So when he was that dude. He was like Superman for them. So when he left, you know, it's just that guiding light, that voice. Because I don't think none of them dudes really wanted to rap. I just think it was just Biggie. I mean, they rapped in the neighborhood and they had talent, whatever. And Biggie was like, yo, I could put you on. And he did. And credit to him for doing that, because he saved a lot of men and women from the block. But you could just tell that once Biggie was gone, that front man was gone. That guiding light was gone, and it was nothing. There was no rekindling that. I mean, Little C's had a little run, but without Biggie, it was just like, what is this? You know what I mean?
It's interesting that you mentioned the part about Lil' Kim, because me and my homeboys literally had this conversation 2 days ago in our group text.
Yeah.
I think, and because what happened, I don't even know how we got on the subject of Lil' Kim. And
was it the BET Awards?
Well, I didn't watch the BET Awards, but I obviously saw a clip.
Saw the clips or whatever.
And and that's what it was. You're right. Somebody posted in our group chat a picture of Lil' Kim at the BET Awards, and then somebody posted a picture of Lil' Kim like in 1997. And what I did was I posted a picture of Lil' Kim like even before then. Like if you go back and watch that Get Money video, I think it was. I mean, this is before she even started wearing wigs. She just had a natural short haircut.
Yeah.
She was beautiful. And I posted a picture in our group chat of her.
Beautiful.
And it's not to say she's not beautiful now, but she's undergone obviously some cosmetic surgery. It looks like her skin is a lot lighter than it used to be, which is interesting because, if you're familiar with Biggie and you're familiar with the story with her and Lil' Kim, and you understand the dynamic of where she was in his life, when Faith was around and Charlie Baltimore was around and, some of the other women. And it just seemed to me like, from the outside looking in, the women other than, and this is just what we know publicly, which is not a lot, but it seemed like all of the women that Big dealt with other than Lil' Kim were light skinned.
Right.
And Kim was a brown skinned woman. And maybe there was some self-hate there I don't know. And again, and we talked about it too, that doesn't get, talked about a lot, but Faith mentioned it. And Kim mentioned it, I think before in interviews that, of abuse with Big. And Faith mentioned, she said, well, look, we used to fight. And so like, we're like, wait a minute. You fight? What do you mean fight? But Faith is like from the hood, like she ain't no punk. And so even that stuff rarely gets talked about. And I think at the time that Faith brought it up, obviously it was after Big passed away. So it kind of looked like in poor taste to be talking about domestic abuse in the light of his death, because he wasn't here to defend himself. And it wasn't something that was publicly talked about when he was here.
And it was a different time. This was way years before Me Too. So.
way before, is as talked about now. But even in saying all that, man, Lil' Kim, man, she definitely would have benefited, I think, from Big still being here. And it's not to say that she hasn't been successful. We know what she's done, on the mic. We knows what she's done when it's time for her to get on jams and, collab with other people. Her features have been, she put out some great features, some legendary features.
Absolutely.
But like you said, that hardcore album cover, I mean, it was on everybody's dorm, everybody's poster wall in their dorm when I was in school.
That cover speaks for itself.
So I mean, like, and she and so I don't know, man, but I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I think she definitely would have been able to benefit from Big being here. Same for Junior Mafia, though, and like you said, those guys. I think he really took a liking to Kim and C's because they were about their grind and they wanted to hustle. The other guys in the clique, they could rap, but they weren't really rappers like that. They weren't about the grind, man. But great points on Junior Mafia and Kim.
Yeah, no, the Kim one is tough because again, we're not both of us are men and we're not women and we don't. That alone is a sore subject and a touchy subject at that.
Yes,
like so I don't want anybody that listens to this. I hope I don't offend anybody, but it's just I struggle. Like, man, would things be different? Like, would Biggie have enough clout and power to be like, yo, man, you ain't got to be doing this to yourself? Who knows, man? And maybe this is something even beyond Biggie. Like, maybe this was inevitable. Maybe she just has some trauma from her life before fame, celebrity. Maybe there was who knows, man? It's tough, man. But yeah, man. I hope, for her sake, I hope that she's happy and she can find self-love somehow, some way.
Indeed.
Yeah, for sure, man. Number 5 for me, no copycat rappers. So there was a wave of copycat rappers in the wake of Biggie passing, and I'd argue to this day there's still some copy, not necessarily the style or voice, but the persona, the Frank White. I mean, all you got to do is look at Rick Ross. I mean, hard to argue that he hasn't at least, aside from stealing somebody else's name, stolen Biggie's style and aura and whatever. But yeah, I mean, Rick Ross, Shine, which I always kind of felt like it was a little unfair with Shine. Like I never looked at Shine like, aside from sounding like him, I never like felt like Shine was trying to be Biggie. Same. Two different dudes. So I always kind of felt like that was unfair. But I mean, you had Gravy, who literally looked like the dude, and sounded like Gravy. Yeah, Gravy, man. Gravy, Shine, you have Rick Ross. I mean, you could. I mean, I've even had arguments with folks that like felt like Big Pun was kind of a Puerto Rican Biggie, basically. You know what I'm saying? So, and of course, this is nothing to say against Pun. Pun is God level as well. Yeah, but I think you don't see that wave of copycat rappers, man. Maybe it's somebody else. Maybe you and even Tupac had copycat rappers. I mean, you could argue Ja Rule was a clone of Pac. You know what I mean? You could argue that. I mean, people have said maybe DMX was maybe a clone of Tupac. I'm not saying that they are or aren't. I'm just saying that you don't see that wave of copycat rappers if Biggie is obviously alive.
No doubt, man. Hey, man, they just like they said on the symphony, man. No biting allowed. That's what one thing that we didn't allow in hip hop. You couldn't bite, and I never
you couldn't be Future and Designer,
which they're really the same. But you're right, man. And you had me cracking up about Gravy. I totally forgot. And Gravy played Biggie.
He played Biggie in
the Notorious movie. Yeah, man. It's like you said. I'm the same way about Shine. I thought Shine could rap. I understood why people liked, or took to Shine, but I think I was like, y'all understand that he sounds like Biggie. I was like, but he don't rap like Biggie. It's one thing to sound like Biggie. I was like, but he don't rap like. So I never made the correlation, man. But
and even the sounding part, was a reach.
It is
similar. It sounds similar. It was similar, but it was like people made it sound like it was just literally remember that dude that sounded just like Jay-Z?
Yeah, I remember.
I can't even remember his name.
He had a video or something like that.
Yeah, literally sounded like there was a rapper. I think he was even Angie Martinez co-signed this dude too. Like that dude literally was was a whole biter. I never liked to Shine like that. So I was kind of
why you want to sound like him? Yeah. But no, I'm rolling with you on those. That cool. No copycat, that's for sure.
No copycat.
What you got for 6?
Number 6, Puffy doesn't become the superstar that we eventually see him become.
Now you're stepping on some toes, Manny.
I mean, listen. And again, I think we alluded to this obviously two numbers ago, but I don't think it was intentional. But Puffy felt like he had to take the mantle as the face of Bad Boy, for better or for worse, right? We didn't know Mace was that guy yet. Lox was Lox, obviously. But Puffy had to be. I mean, Biggie died, man, and in one fell. March 10th came around, and Puffy was like, "Yo, I gotta keep the train moving."
Yeah.
So he stepped into that. Remember, Puffy's album was in the works already, and what the album that ended up becoming No Way Out was, I think, Hell Up in Harlem or whatever. And it was a totally different album, totally different vision for it. Who knows? Maybe we for sure know that we don't have an I'll Be Missing You. Oh, that song does not exist in our current timeline here. we're in the MCU, man. We're in like universes. It's like, yo, this song does not exist, obviously. So Puffy doesn't transcend into pop culture. That's not to say that Puffy isn't recognizable or he doesn't become a billionaire, because I think Puffy had a drive and a vision and was smart in his own right. So definitely, I think Puffy, what I would describe it as, Puffy becomes more of a Pharrell, where he does some music, has some hits, but people think of Pharrell, they think of producer, super hip hop producer.
Yes.
And I think the same thing with Puffy. I think they would think of him more of like hip hop producer, guy that has some hits here and there. Can't Hold Me Down. That's a song. I think it would have been on either version of that album. Obviously, that was the first single. And but I don't think he becomes Puff Daddy. Whereas at one point he was the biggest hip hop star.
Yes.
In the world, you know what I mean? And I don't think that happens if Biggie's around, obviously.
1000%. You know what it is, man? And I love the fact that you do the same thing that I do. You call him Puffy or Puff.
Yeah.
I never call him Diddy.
Never call him Diddy. Yeah.
It's
Puffy, man.
Because we know him as Puff. He's always going to be Puff. He according to him, he invented the remix. And it's always just been Puff. And so like, you're right. I don't think, and it's not his fault per se, but like you said, he was thrust into a position where they make the I'll Be Missing You record. That goes bananas. That's all over MTV. It's on white radio. It's on black radio. It's everywhere.
Still to this day, probably one of the biggest hip hop songs of all time.
Ever.
Yeah.
And, and so like, when it gets to that point, you don't have a choice. And then, like you said, the No Way album was coming out already, but now it's got to be the Shiny Suit era. It's got to be this. It's got to be that, because he's riding this wave. And no, he doesn't ride this wave. And if those of you listening, if you think we're being overly dramatic about it, I'll say this: just look at what Puff did behind the mic up until the time Biggie died. It was just ad libs. That was it. He wasn't rap. I mean, he rapped on Dolly My Baby, but he wasn't really rapping. He wasn't doing anything. He was, appearing in the videos. He was dancing.
Biggie wrote half those. Like, let's be real. Biggie wrote half of that. Like, come on, most of that.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah, we know Puff not writing. He writes checks. He already told you that. So, but yeah, I'm with you 1000%. Puff, he would not have been what he became.
And you know the crazy part about it too? Like,
I
feel like his artistry or whatever, him having to become quote unquote a rapper, I think it took away from him as a producer. Like, I think it really because I think Puffy to this day is still underrated as a producer, as a beat maker, as a song.
So quick question. So do you consider Puff to be a producer or more of an arranger? Because you know about the Hitman.
Yeah, true.
Rest in peace, Chucky Thompson.
If you will, if you want to mince words, if you want to have word salad, I guess, and word spaghetti, is he the producer in the classic term where he's got the beat machine and he's throwing the beat together? No, not necessarily. But I think he's not. But I still give him credit, man. I think he's definitely the arranger, and I think he may not be the architect of the beat, but he's definitely the visionary of what the song is, what the song could be. Sampling, he got on the train of sampling, 80s music. I mean, Puffy was ahead of his time, because we were living in the age of 80s nostalgia, and Puffy was ahead of the curve.
Yes,
just a decade after the 80s, like in the 90s. He was sampling 80s music heavy. So yeah, man, I still give Puffy his credit as a quote unquote producer. Was he in there with the beat machine making beats necessarily? Probably not. But
hell no.
Yeah, probably not. But I still give him his due as a quote unquote producer, because he had the vision, man. He had the vision. Chucky Thompson didn't have the vision to do. Maybe he did. I don't want to speak for him, but Chucky Thompson did not have the vision to do More Money, More Problems. He didn't. Puffy had that vision. Puffy had the vision of like, yo, we gonna take this, we gonna do it in the video, blah blah blah. That's Puffy, man.
You know what, man, and that's why I call him an arranger, because when I think of a producer, I'm thinking of a Dr. Dre, a Timbaland, or Primo. I'm thinking of people like that, and I know that Puffy had the Hitmen, that was his producer team, and it's been widely rumored that like the Hitmen would have a beat together and they'd have everything there. And then Puff would come in and say, okay, well, hey, you got to take this down and put this up and flatten this out right here, and let me do this. And so
that's producing too, though. That's
it is producing. It is producing, but I think the thing that people would knock him for in that scenario would be like he would get the producer credit,
right?
And it would say like executive produced by Puff, co-produced by the Hitman. So obviously, if I'm the executive producer, if I EP'd it, then my cut of the check is going to be a whole lot bigger than those who, and maybe, just maybe, the Hitmen were actually in there, crafting the beat and everything. And then you were downtown getting your hair cut, or you were at Junior's getting cheesecake, and you come in here and now you just touch a couple of buttons and now you're the producer. So it's been widely documented as to how, people think that it went. And, some people spoke on it or whatever like that. I've never heard the Hitmen, and Chucky Thompson in particular, rest in peace, speak ill of Puff or anything like that. So I don't think it was as bad as people try to make it out to be, but it's just a thing of, like we talked about a little earlier, where people don't like Puff.
It's one of those things to bag on Puffy about. So and it's fair. I mean, again, but my counter to that would be he wasn't in the studio making the beats, so him crediting himself as a producer, probably was not the best of look, and I agree with that to a point. But let's just say I'll take I'll Be Missing You, right?
Mm-hmm.
In its beat form, probably just a normal standard beat. But Puffy comes in, let's do this. Let's put let's sample here, blah 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 blah, and maybe takes I'll Be Missing You from okay to I'll Be Missing You.
Right.
Global. Hey, you may not like that, but
facts.
That's producing as well.
It is. It is.
And
it really is. It really
gets credit for that.
And
he gets credit for that.
Fun fact, I read this, and I people can look it up if they will, but I read that he's gotten no royalties from that. Like all of that money from that song goes to Sting.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, that's true. That's accurate.
And that's a huge.
That's the only way. That's the only way Sting would even clear it.
Wow.
If
he's got 100%.
Woo. Yeah. I mean, listen, we're not crying for Puffy. Puffy's
right.
more than made up for it. He's more than made up for it. Let's just put it that way.
If he ain't at $1 billion, he's close to it.
Yeah.
Number
7, my favorite one on this list.
Okay.
Because I love me a good hip hop beef.
I
think eventually, not even eventually, I think inevitably, Biggie with Jay-Z kind of co-signing would have beef with Nas, Ghostface, Raekwon, Jeru the Damager, especially in light of Kicking the Door and What's Beef. Remember, Biggie's alive.
He's alive.
Album's out. Kicking the Door. It's banging like, he's talking about he's. I mean, and listen, this was a battle that's been brewing
for a while.
It's been simmering for a while, right? Like Purple Tape comes out, biting niggas, like Ghostface saying what he's saying. Then Nas comes out with the message, and on it was written, and you know what I mean. So this has been a slow. I'm gonna use a wrestling term here for the audience out there. If you're a wrestling fan, this is a slow burn. This is a slow simmering feud. The heel turn is coming, and it came with Kicking the Door, and it came and with What's Beef, and I think that you definitely see a beef, a back and forth between Biggie and Nas, definitely between Biggie and Raekwon and Ghostface, and I think it would have made for entertaining beefs. It could have made beef records. I mean, I can't imagine what the response from Ghostface and the chef would have been, and then of course Nas, and then and then you got the Nas and Mobb Deep component too. So maybe Mobb Deep gets into it because we all know Mobb Deep was tight with Nas and Wu. So I mean, and then of course you got Jay-Z and everybody.
So
I think
there could
very interesting.
There could have been a borough war. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely. I think so. I mean, listen, it's not even, I don't even think I'm speaking out of turn. I mean, there was, for all intents and purposes, there was a beef. Like it was.
Oh, no question. No question.
I mean, it was very subliminal, but I think if Biggie's alive, I think it goes past subliminal shots, and I think it goes on to full on, like you get ether before ether. Like you get the ether. Yeah, you get that, it just happens. Like, and I think, I mean, everything that you see down the line with Jay-Z and Nas has roots to Biggie and Biggie and Nas. So, and that falling out or misunderstanding or whatever. So,
man, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I definitely think that you will see some back and forth shots. And I think it would have made for great hip hop, man. I think it would have. I mean, I can't imagine what a Ghostface Chef rebuttal or Jeru rebuttal or whatever. So I think it would have made for great spectacle for sure.
Oh, no doubt. I agree 1,000%, man. I like what you're saying, because like even back then the disses were very subliminal. It wasn't overt. It was, like sometimes you had to listen to it, be like I might call you and say, yo, Manny, man, you heard Nas? You heard Nas say, you think he talking about Ghost? And then you're like, nah, man, I think he talking about Big, like that. And so like that's how you would be with your friends, because like nobody really didn't speak each other's name. Like, I'll be honest, it went a minute before I realized that Kicking the Door was about Nas. I didn't know.
It was a sucker move back then if you was mentioning cast names. Like, you know what I mean? You would be looked at as a sucker, like, oh, you it's like cloud chase. Cloud chasing was not a good thing, guys.
Never.
For the youngest in the audience. Like, there was no there was cloud chasing, but I mean, like, that wasn't considered
like
a
that.
good thing back then. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I think it would have just made for great hip hop, man. I mean, I think that, and and then of course you got Method Man in between, and you got AZ who's running with both, with Nas, of course, and it's still cool with that Brooklyn connection with Biggie and Jay. It again, it would have made for fascinating music for sure. Absolutely.
Sure. Number
8. We really would have seen Biggie's role expand as a talent evaluator and nurturing MCs for the next generation. So I think one of the underrated aspects of Biggie, and I talked about it earlier, was he really had an eye for talent. Like, he saw something in Little C's. He saw it, even though, I know he probably was writing half of that stuff or whatever. But hey, he at least had a vision. Not everybody can just pick somebody. Even if you put in the words behind it, they got to have that it. And he saw something in Little Kim. He saw something in Little C's. I think he's one of the reasons. I know the locks were discovered by Mary J. Blige. Those were like the ones that put him on to Puffy's radar. But the locks have said that Biggie was very influential in their early days on Bad Boy. So even just with the locks, with Mace was another one, right? That credits Biggie for being very influential, in the early days of Bad Boy. So like Mace, the locks, Junior Mafia, Little Kim, I mean, Jay-Z. I mean, I'm not gonna say Jay-Z, he discovered Jay-Z, obviously he didn't, but him throwing his, like, that Jay-Z really went to another level when, like, he had that Biggie endorsement. Like, yo, damn, Biggie's endorsing this dude. Like, all right, okay, like this dude must be serious. So I think I would have loved to seen, like, obviously Biggie's alive, he's got his own label, he's away from Bad Boy, like, seeing what role he plays in nurturing, finding the next artist, kind of similar to what Kanye's done. Dre, obviously, Jay-Z, like all these other artists that when they get to a certain level where they kind of become artist liaisons, where they're finding the next so-and-so. And I think Biggie would have had great success in that, because Biggie had an eye for talent, man, for sure.
Oh, I agree, man. I think Biggie, the businessman, really would have intrigued me, because we started to see glimpses of it, like you said, in his artist development. He had a clothing line called Brooklyn Mint. I actually had 2 t-shirts, man. I don't know what happened.
I had a couple shirts.
Love those t-shirts, man. So Brooklyn Mint, we saw him dabble into acting when he appeared on Martin. So, he was, I think, starting to really come around, man. And I think, we were just really just seeing him scratch the surface of where he was going to be. But yeah, like you said, his artist development, man, was I think that would have been interesting. Like I said, just going into his own label and being the guy calling and pushing the shots. I think he would have. I think he'd have been successful. I think, and I don't think he would have needed, Bad Boy or anything like that to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just finding different artists to co-sign. I mean, who knows? Maybe if he's alive, we get the first glimpses of Cameron, and by definition, we get the first glimpses of Dipset. So who knows, right? Like, it's just the sky's the limit when it comes to Biggie as a talent evaluator, man. I think he really had an eye and an ear for that. So it would have just been interesting to see that. Number 9, New York maintains its place as hip hop's epicenter. Might be a controversial one. No, I really feel like when Biggie died, there was a power vacuum in New York. Like, everybody was vying for the. I mean, they were vying for the crown when Biggie was alive. So of course, when he was dead, when he passed, it was a power vacuum, and you had Nas coming for the crown. Obviously, you had Jay coming for the crown. You have, X, Ja Rule. You got, Ghostface, Raekwon, the Wu doing their thing still. Obviously, the Locks, and then what they would do eventually in their own solo careers or whatever. I mean, so you just had a power vacuum, and I think having that, like, larger than, like, because that's the thing about Biggie too. Biggie was just this larger than life figure that, for the most part, had respect from everybody. I mean, aside from his issues with so and so or so and so, whatever, he just had respect from everybody. And I wonder if Biggie was alive, do you see the proliferation of beefs in New York? Because I think that's kind of one of the things that really kind of helped New York fall off. Is just like, it felt like every artist at some point was beefing with each other. And it was just like, it just got tiring after a while. You know what I mean? And that's the one thing the South has always had. It's just like there was a community with Southern rappers. It may not necessarily all. I'm not saying that there was no beefs in the South, but like there was just a more of an understanding and a brotherhood and a camaraderie with Southern rappers that you just didn't see with New York rappers. And it's part of it just New York. You're just competitive. It's just that mindset. Right. But I think a lot of it was just kind of like everybody was just vying for the crown, man. I mean, even Nori had a 98 where you just big punt. Yes. Like, everybody was vying for that title. And I think that maybe it might have been different if Biggie was around still, where it'd been like, yo, chill out. There's still one king here. Like chill out. And even going into the 2000s when the South is starting to rise up, maybe Biggie's strong. Maybe Biggie's aura is big enough to, like, rally everybody around him and say, like, yo, we're not getting down like that. We're not gonna have 50 Cent, this new kid beefing with Fat Joe and Locks and da-da-da. I mean, maybe I'm reaching on this one, but I like to think that New York at least is able to settle itself and still maintain its prevalence as the birthplace and the epicenter of hip hop.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're onto something because, you're right. That time, if we think about it and we keep Biggie here, that time was very critical for, New York, because like you said, at that particular time, people were vying for the crown. Mm-hmm. So you take 97 and you keep him here. Is it as competitive? Probably, because it's New York. New York MCs are always going to be competitive, but like you said, that stretch of the back half of the 90s into the early 2000s, it was so competitive that even from a distance, somebody like me who lived in the South, you could tell, like, nah, them dudes ain't get along. And then you go look at, a video from somebody down south in Atlanta or Miami, you look at a Ludacris video, and Goody Mob's in it, and Outkast is in it, and 2 Chainz is in it, and it's like you see all of these cameos of these people, and everybody's from different neighborhoods and stuff like that, but they're collaborating and they're working together and doing songs together. Wherein you're not gonna see Ja Rule and 50 teaming up to do a song together. It's just not gonna happen. Mm-hmm. So yeah, maybe he does do that. Maybe Big's presence makes New York MCs go hard at each other, and they raise the level of competition. Right. But I'm with you on that. That's something I hadn't really thought about. But no, I agree with you on that one for sure.
Yeah, I really believe that, man. I don't know. I think Biggie was that big enough of a presence, and I mean, who knows, right? Maybe he could have. Maybe he would have gotten in on it as well, because again, it's that competitive nature. Everybody's vying for the crown as who's the best, right? So, maybe who knows? Maybe we would have. Maybe 50 Cent comes out in 2003 and Biggie's still on top, and he's like, yo, like what's this doing?
Right.
Like maybe I don't. Who's to say, man? But I think losing that larger than life figure in Biggie, I think it really kind of, it obviously created a power vacuum in NYC. And I think you just had killers on the mic vying for the crown. Yep. So I think that maybe having that person there is still like, yo, I'm still the top of the food chain here. Like we everybody can eat now. But there's only one.
There's only one king.
Who's to say that, that wouldn't happen? My last number here, number 10. I think we really would have seen something special with Biggie's evolution as a lyricist, as a rapper, as an artist, and as a businessman. You alluded to it yourself a couple minutes ago. I think you really saw Biggie was just ahead of his time with just doing all the things that he was doing, delving into acting, fashion, basically being a co-signer of different artists. And I think you started to see that even back then. So I think it would have just further been continued going into the new millennium. So I think seeing that, of course, but I think seeing the growth in his artistry, like that's one of the beautiful things that I look at when I look at rappers like Jay-Z, I know that even Eminem, like to see where they were when they started to now, and the context of what their music is now compared to what it was back then. And I'm talking about rappers that have had 20 plus year careers. I mean, I would have loved to have seen, that's the sad part about Biggie, right? We only got 2 albums, right? We only have those 2 albums. I would have loved to have seen what the follow-up to Life After Death was, because we talked about this offline. We're like, Biggie was ahead of his time even on Life After Death. Like Life After Death was melodic. He was singing on hooks here. It was only 2 songs here and there, but that still was ahead of his time, even for '97. And it ostracized him a lot in certain circles, because a lot of people, I remember back then, like people was like, it's cool, but it's not as good as Ready to Die. Ready to Die, he's talking that shit, like he's singing, play a hater. What's that? So I think it would have put him. I would have loved to have seen him in his evolution and in his growth from album 3, 4, 5, whatever going forward, and seeing where he could have gone musically, because I think Biggie, kind of like Jay, he always had that sensibility of like adapting with the times and always constantly reinventing himself. So I would have loved to have seen what Biggie would have done in the new millennium, especially when the South is rising. I mean, you saw it even in Life After Death. He was collaborating with Bone Thugs, collaborating with Too Short. So it wasn't just New York centric for him. He was collaborating with other artists outside of New York. And I would have loved to have seen what Biggie, collaborate with Southern rappers, a Ludacris, a T.I., a Jeezy, or whatever. Like, I think it could have been the growth as an artist could have been amazing to see. And I think we would have seen something special from Biggie if he had continued.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's something I think about a lot too when I think about him and his legacy, where he would have been lyrically and musically had he survived, and then also, how he would have handled life as a father. He was going through a divorce, I think, at the time that he was murdered, but just his overall evolution as to where he would be as a man. Because Big was he was a different type of dude. So, you just think like, man, he was just like something I said a little earlier. He was just scratching the surface.
He was really scratching. Like, I think people really don't. I like me and you know this, like right? That, but I think people really forget, like, yo, this man was 20 and Pac was, I think, 24. Yeah, but Pac was 25, 24. I think I got it. I think they both were
very relatively young.
Like 25. Like, this man was literally, I mean, you could make the case he was a baby still. Like, still wet behind the ears. Like,
pretty much.
I mean, I
mean, think about it. When you're 24, 25 years old, looking back on it now that you're, 10 years removed from that, you know a lot now, but you're just like, man, 10 years ago, I ain't know shit. Like, you thought you did, but you don't, and they were navigating through, both Pac and Big were navigating through a time where, you know, they didn't have the type of stuff that we have now that kind of help us and assist us. And, you know, it was just like, and ultimately dealing in the, you know, the music business is shady as that can be. One question I got for you.
Yeah,
because I'm sure that people who are listening have this question because it's come up a gazillion times.
Mm-hmm. I know where you're going.
Somebody you mentioned, Sean Corey Carter.
Yep.
If Big were alive, what happens with Jay-Z?
I still think you have Jay-Z.
Okay.
I feel like to say that Biggie was alive, there's no Jay-Z. Jay-Z just fades into obscurity, or Jay-Z's just a nice rapper. That's just such a disrespectful take to just the greatness of Hove. And Hove is my favorite rapper. Biggie's my favorite rapper. They're both tied as my favorite rappers. But like, that's just disrespecting Hove. Like, it's not even like something that's just worth arguing. Like, sure, obviously you've got that spectrum of Biggie. It's interesting to see what a world looks like when you have two behemoths like Biggie and Jay at the top of the food chain. What that looks like, right? But I think it's no different than like Jay-Z, Nas, Jay-Z, Kanye, obviously for different reasons. I think you would have seen it similar to like a Jay-Z and a Kanye, where Kanye's big, if not bigger than Jay-Z, or Jay-Z's as big, if not bigger than Kanye. And I think they both exist in parallel universes. They do different things per se. I think Jay-Z was just so talented, so smart, so driven. Like we talk about Biggie's business acumen. Like Jay-Z, we've written books about Jay-Z's business acumen. So I just think there was no stopping Jay, man. I think Jay was determined to be Jay, no matter what. And I think he would have been. I think he would have still been that guy. Maybe could we argue that he's maybe looked at in a different light? If maybe he's overshadowed, I think is probably a better question. Does Biggie overshadow Jay-Z? I think you can make that argument, but to say that like, oh, Biggie's around, Jay doesn't even get on, with some people would have you believe, like Jay-Z was doing this thing when Biggie was alive. Like people, like Reasonable Doubt, they didn't sell as much as Ready to Die or you know, even Nas' second album, it was written, but Jay-Z still to come out with a Reasonable Doubt as your first album. Yeah. And who's to say, you know what, in my lifetime is probably a different album too. You know,
it's true.
I still love In My Lifetime. I think that album
I do too.
Is criminally underrated. If he knocks off 3-4 songs, that is a different album completely. But maybe that's a different album. Maybe Jay-Z's not in that mindset where he's trying to fill the void of Biggie, as opposed to, or not even necessarily fill the void of Biggie, but like trying to be Biggie in the bad boy element, as opposed to just be Hove. Maybe that's a different album, and who knows what we get from Jay-Z. So I think Sean Carter was going to be Sean Carter regardless, man. I really believe that.
Yeah, man, I'm with you, man. You haven't said anything on here that I disagree with. I think that argument / statement gets overstated way too much. I think people have to understand, like, when Big passed, Jay-Z had already had. It wasn't like Jay-Z started dropping albums after Biggie died. Reasonable Doubt came out in '96. Now, like you said, it didn't sell well, but Jay-Z didn't necessarily sell a lot of records because of the void that Big left when Big wasn't here. I think you can make that case for Puff because they were in the same label. If you say, okay, well, you know, Big wasn't there as competition. Well, I mean, everybody kind of, but I think that was New York kind of pushing. So Nas stepped up, Jay stepped up, you know, Busta stepped up eventually. You know, groups like that, and I think it was more of a collective. I don't think it was necessarily one MC in particular that, you know, really filled that void, if you will. But I think maybe Big overshadows Jay, but I think Jay probably stays on the same trajectory that he does. You know, he's still, because I don't think that the moves that he made ultimately were because Big wasn't here. But I also think even in saying that, I think that it's very plausible that Big could have made the same moves or better than Jay. with what some of the things that we talked about was clothing line. Jay had a clothing line. He had artists. Jay had artists. So it was. It's not inconceivable that they both could have been doing the same thing and relatively pushing each other to newer heights and stuff. So yeah, I had to ask you that, man, because
no, I mean, you can't do one of these things without talking about the elephant in the room, right?
Oh, of course,
right?
Yeah,
I think I did a good job of even avoiding it. But nah, man, I mean, honestly, the way I would compare it is like the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, right? Like, I feel like they both were legendary, tremendous rock bands that literally came within months of each other, and they both have their fan bases. Obviously, the Beatles get regarded probably a little bit higher historically,
of course.
But that's not to say that like people take away from the Rolling Stones and what they did. I think they both withstood the test of time, and I think that Jay-Z and Biggie would have been no different. Same for Nas too. Like,
oh, no question.
Biggie, Jay-Z and Nas exist in the same world now. Like, so to say that Biggie and Jay couldn't have existed in the same, and like Jay just said, and recently in Neck or Wrist, y'all would have got the commission.
Exactly.
That would have even
the commission was coming.
What like who knows what
the commission that would have been a group with
exactly.
Jay-Z and Biggie together. And that's the thing, man. Like, people think like I've talked about this on this podcast before. Like, legends in rap and music do exist, and they can coexist.
In the same period.
In the same period. There can be a Kendrick and there can be a Cole. There can be a Kendrick and there can be a Drake. Yep. There could be a Jay-Z and there could be a Nas and a Biggie all at the same time. And you can have your fan bases and everybody can love who they love and support who they support without there being any type of beef or anything like that.
You don't hear people saying, well, Stevie Wonder would have never been in if
Marvin Gaye.
Like, what? Like, we had an era where it was Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye,
nobody cared,
Curtis Mayfield, and they were just icons, giants, like musical. Prince and Michael existed in the same time frame.
They weren't going to get on the record together.
Prince more than Mike, or no people that prefer Michael more than Prince, but I don't think anybody like denigrates one to like. No. I think it's just silly, man. Like, yes, Jay-Z would have still been Jay-Z whether Biggie was here or not, and to allude otherwise to that is foolish.
No doubt. Before we get out of here, Manny, man, tell people where they can find you on the socials.
Man.
Tell them about your 7 different podcasts. This man is everywhere.
It's not 7, man. I do try to be the hardest working man in podcasting, man. For sure.
You put in the work, that's for sure.
I try to, man. I'm trying. Hey, man, I'm trying to be the next Sean Carter out here, man. I'm trying to have generational wealth in these streets, man.
There you go.
Man. First and foremost, man, thank you for having me on, man. You know how I feel about you. You know how I feel about this podcast. So anytime that I can be lucky enough to be on here with you,
we're gonna do it again.
Oh, for sure. But man, Any Given Sunday is my main show. For the folks that have listened to me before, y'all know that we're on our little summer hiatus, so we take a little break in the summertime. To just live life, enjoy, right? But we'll be back in August next month. August 21st, I believe, is the third Sunday in August. So we'll be back then with a new episode, gearing up for football season. Any Given Sunday, we'll be back. And then, of course, like the title sounds, new episodes every Sunday. And podcast is available anywhere where you can find podcasts. And then I do some work for MLBBro.com, covering Black baseball, all things Black baseball. Myself, Rob Parker. A host of other talented creators, men and women. We just cover all things Black baseball, man, and we try to give it to y'all, straight, no chaser. So check out everything that from us. I host a show with my man Mark Gray called Debatables. It's kind of a first take light where we just discuss weekly topics and we just debatables, right? So you can find that on MLBBro.com. MLBBro, just like it sounds, MLBBro.com. And then of course, man, I'm the voice of reason on Dead End Sports. So catch me on. It's been a minute. I know life has been crazy. So
life has been life.
Tuesdays and Thursdays sometimes can get a little hectic, but I promise I will make my grand return to Dead End Sports. But in the meantime, you can catch me on Dead End Sports 365, where we do daily snippets, anywhere from 2 to 7 minutes about any random topic, and that's on YouTube as well. So Dead End Sports on YouTube. And Dead End Sports on the podcast side of things is available, like I said, on all podcast platforms. So yeah, man, that's just a brief, as brief as I can make it, synopsis of what I do.
Oh, no doubt. And here's the cool thing about Any Given Sunday. The title references obviously sports, but it's not just sports. I mean, like Manny, they'll get on there and talk politics, they'll talk current events, worldly events. So they're not afraid to, peel back the covers and just talk about the truth. It's that stuff is refreshing because, like, you can listen to it. There's not many sports shows that you're going to listen to where one segment they're talking about, Joe Biden, and the next segment they're talking about, whether or not, LeBron should be trying to get another person in his team.
For sure, man.
Lakers. So,
for sure.
It's definitely a good list. Great listen, actually.
Shout out to my co-host Josh Rodriguez, man. He's the second half of the dynamic duo, man, for sure. So definitely wouldn't be able to do it without him. So yeah, shout out to Josh for all things Any Given Sunday, man. But yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
No doubt. And Manny is, I mentioned he's a Jets fan and he's a Mets fan, but he's also a Lakers. He is one of the few Lakers fans that I know that is very sensible about his team. Because there's a lot of Lakers fans that ain't sensible about their team. Manny, Baylor, just the name.
I'm on the outs, man. I'm on the outs, bro. Like I feel like I'm an alien in Lakerland, man. I feel like
basketball season right around the corner, man.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready, man. Listen, I've got thoughts. I'll save them for another podcast. But I'm not your average Laker fan. Let's just put it.
For sure. So you guys make sure y'all check them. Give them your socials too.
Man. At D-Man. Yeah, good catch. Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at TheManuel Brown. Just my full name, TheManuel Brown. And then that's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Manuel Brown, Snapchat, MannyBro15. But yeah, Instagram and Twitter, man, TheManuel Brown.
There you go. Well, you guys have been listening long enough. You know where to catch me. It's 12 Kyle across the board on the socials. This podcast, like all of my podcasts, drop every Thursday at midnight. From time to time, we drop bonus episodes on Sundays at midnight. So it's important that you do subscribe. That's going to do it for us. So for my boy, Manny Brown, I'm your boy, 12 Kyle. We'll catch you guys next time. 5,000.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
If you work in university maintenance, Granger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Granger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRANGER, visit Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.